I was going to do a video about Islam, but I had to give up. I honestly don't have enough knowledge of Islam to make a full video about it, which is weird because I spent over a year being talked at by a Muslim who wanted to convert me to his religion to save my atheist soul. I should have learned something, right? I do want to do something based on religion, so if you have any suggestions, I'd like to hear them. In the meantime, I found this video of a woman talking about Black Lives Matter. I'd like to hear how racist I am just because of the color of my skin.
Hey guys, I wanted to jump on here and talk about two cases in completely different states of attorneys being put in jail or not able to proceed with court proceedings for wearing a Black Lives Matter pin. Now,
Okay, let me see. Two people were sent to prison, and the reasons are that they were wearing Black Lives Matter pins. Is that true, or were they thrown into prison for contempt of court? That's what I thought. In the first example, the judge told her to remove the pin, and she refused. She wasn't jailed for wearing the pin. In fact, there's nothing on this particular page that says she was sent to prison. She spoke to reporters afterwards.
the reason I'm doing this should be obvious, just to point out the disgusting, evil albinoid mentality. Because the thing of it is you have this movement where we keep saying Black Lives Matter, and their position is to say it don't. They'll deny racism, but then the minute that you say Black Lives Matter, they'll counter it with all lives matter. Well, the thing of it is if all lives did matter, you would feel no need to say that if people said Black Lives Matter.
No. By saying that all lives matter is not in the slightest claiming that Black lives don't matter. It's stating the perfectly reasonable position that Black lives don't matter any more than non-Black lives. It's not denying racism at all. Anyone can acknowledge that some people are racist and still say that white people are just as important as Black people or vice versa. The question you should ask yourself is whether or not Black Lives Matter is a racist movement by focusing solely on the colour of a person's skin. How do you identify yourself first? A person or a Black person? Is the colour of your skin more important to you than your identity as a person?
But you have to stop paying attention to their words and look at the actions of these evil albinoids.
I actually had to look up the term albinoid. For those who also don't know what it means or don't assume what it means, it's a racial descriptive for white people. You know, this means that she just referred to white people as evil white people. Don't you think that referring to someone as evil because of the colour of their skin is kind of racist? No, of course you don't. It's impossible for Black people to be racist, right?
Because they'll show you in a number of different ways that Black lives do not matter. This is the same mentality they had back in the day. They'll try to give you this misconception of, oh, only 1% of white people own slaves, because what they want to do is they want to deflect. They want to make it seem like this is not just in their nature, this is not just how they are, but it is how they are.
What a load of crap. It is not in the nature of white people to own slaves. Yes, powerful white people have owned slaves in the distant past, but that doesn't make it their nature. I assume you're going to ignore the number of slave owners who were Black. or the fact that black people sold black slaves to slave traders. You're the one focusing on colour before character. You're the one being racist here by assuming that all white people are inherently racist.
They are, but it is how they are, because it doesn't make sense that you would have a population where the majority of white people don't like something occurring and then it's still occurring. They will try to get you to believe that black people, white people, and every other race of people don't like racism. They're not racism, don't support racists. But yet we live in a country where it's literally saturated in racism, which is dividing the country and will ultimately lead to the demise of the country, not because I wanted to, but because you just can't have a system of unfairness like that. And again, they are the minority on the planet. They're just too stupid and caught up in their hateful nature to understand that it's going to be to their detriment. What they're doing, it can't continue, it shouldn't continue, and it won't continue.
White people are too stupid to understand that racism is wrong. I think you're too stupid to understand that casting complete strangers as racist is wrong. I take it black people have never owned white slaves?
So you have situations like this where they're just exposing their evil nature. But this says controversy over defense lawyers' Black Lives Matter pen delays hearing. A Las Vegas judge and a deputy public defender clashed Tuesday over the attorney's right to argue for her client while wearing a Black Lives Matter button. Now, if you look at her shirt, you can see how tiny this is, right?
Nothing is too tiny in a court of law. By displaying it, she is showing her contempt of white people in a judicial setting. Political movements have no place in a court. It shows bias. Bias from an attorney is wrong.
So the fact that this judge would sit here and say, oh, you can't wear this Black Lives Matter pin, again, their mentality is on autopilot. So
Their mentality? I hope you're talking about a single person here. Otherwise, you're being racist. Again. White people are not racist. Individual white people are racist, but not all of them. I don't think black people are racist just because of the color of their skin. I do think you're racist because of what I've heard you say in just 2.5 minutes of a video.
So anytime they see anything that has to do with something empowering to black people or black people, fighting back and saying we're not going to take the injustices, mind you, they claim to not be for that. They claim to just be for the justice, but shouldn't they be rallying with you? Shouldn't he be wearing a pin like that?
No, he shouldn't. He's a judge and should be impartial at all times, just like the attorneys. Why don't you understand that bigotry in court is not justice? If racial discrimination was not against the law, I would quite happily stand in favour of making it so. But it is, and if you can prove that this judge was being racist when he told an attorney to remove the political slogan in court, then let's see your evidence. Thank fuck not all black people are as racist as you.
But the fact of the matter is they're not. So they want to use coded language. He's just not going to come out and say, I don't want you wearing a Black Lives Matter pin in my courtroom because Black lives don't matter. He can't come out and say that. So what he does is he said, which is what a lot of them do. They do different little antagonistic, microaggressive.
Who is this they that you keep talking about? Don't you know that the world is made up of individuals? Yet you're painting all white people as evil just because they're white.
Actions such as this one to try to show that they don't support it. Oh yeah, the tick matter was a black life. Add issues is whether the button is a political symbol that should be kept out of court or protected free speech. In a courtroom packed with attorneys, Erica Bilal told District Attorney Douglas Herndon she would not remove the button and wanted another judge to hear the case. I took an oath to support the Constitution, all of the Constitution, Bilal said. My oath is to protect every. Let me just try to play this video. Hopefully it'll play. Sometimes they don't like to play when I'm doing this. Is the video here or is it not? But if you watch the video, you'll see. I mean, they're going to regurgitate everything in the article anyway. But basically, she's saying that she doesn't think that she should have to take it off, and she does actually ask him to recuse himself, and says she wants to be. So it's obviously not going to play. Moving right along, she says she wants to be to have a different judge. I am not comfortable giving my well. Where is I at?
By the way, I'm not letting the sound of this video play through. You have so much feedback, it's painful to listen to. Literally painful on my ear. If anyone wants to listen to the actual video that you're about to play, I'll leave a link for it in the description.
Now notice how he doesn't want to unassign himself from the case, but he also doesn't want her wearing that pin. So this is what I'm saying. This is about control that these evil albinoids have.
You know, you'd have more of a case if you stop referring to white people as evil albinoids.
They have a desire to control everything that Black people do. They don't. He's saying that I'm going to be controlling. I'm not going to assign myself to a different case. I want to control you and what you're doing.
No, he's saying he wants a defense attorney to stop showing bias in court when she's supposed to be showing professional behavior. But that's completely lost on you, isn't it?
Now, he also admitted, if you heard in there, he said this is the area where Black people receive the most disparate treatment.
Now, I watched the part where you claim that the judge was saying that he believes that Black people face an unfair bias in courts, and he didn't actually say that. He was talking about something someone else said in the private chambers. I'm not saying that he doesn't agree, but don't twist his words. It's not the right way to go. He did say that if other judges don't mind attorneys wearing badges with political statements on them, then it's up to them. He personally thinks that the courtroom is an inappropriate place for such slogans, and I agree with him. Does that make me racist, or does it show that I'd rather an attorney was focusing more on the immediate case and not trying to turn one case into a stereotype of all similar cases? Isn't that her job after all?
Gauge the mentality of these evil albinoids.
Again with the evil albinoids. How would you feel if I referred to you as an evil mongoloid or an evil negroid? Stop trying to paint all white people as evil because of their skin color. Don't make racist comments when you're trying to prove every white person is racist.
In high positions, because again, the same people who felt like it was okay to have slavery are the same people who wrote the law.
You're right. It's hypocritical for someone who owns a slave to abolish slavery in law, all of which happened over 150 years before you or I were born. In the countries that we're in, slavery is illegal. You were never a slave, and I was never a slave owner. Even if my ancestors had owned slaves, which they didn't, I should not be held accountable to their actions any more than you should be held accountable to your ancestors who used to sacrifice people, or perhaps even cannibalize their slaves. Don't paint me under the same brush as slave owners, and I won't paint you under the same brush as cannibals. It's that simple.
His thing is to say, no, it doesn't matter. He's probably one of those people out there with the All Lives Matter, which
I doubt he's out there with All Lives Matter t-shirts. He's too bloody busy trying to bring justice to an unjust society. He's too busy trying to find out if people charged with crimes are actually guilty of those crimes. That's his job as well, and he has to remain impartial. We'd all be complaining if he saw a black person in a courtroom and ignored that individual's civil rights and just sentenced him or her to prison for the rest of their lives.
if you thought all lives matter, you would have no problem with someone wearing the Black Lives Matter pin, because that would mean Black lives would be included in all lives matter.
Yes, black lives are included in the All Lives Matter, but non-black lives are not included in Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter are the ones being exclusionary here. Black Lives Matter are the ones reducing black people to slaves, telling you that you are incapable because you're a slave. I feel like I'm going round in circles here, and I'm not going to go into her second example. The reason is that it's almost identical to the first. An attorney refused to take off the Black Lives Matter pin in court. The judge sentenced her to 5 days in prison, and she keeps claiming that all white people are evil by their very nature. Now, I obviously do not think this woman is racist because she's black. I think she's racist because she's making all these racist comments. I've left a comment on her video. I want to see how long it takes for her to remove it or accuse me of being racist without even checking to see if I'm black, white, or yellow. If I'm right, it should be removed by the time I finish editing. Now, if any of my audience wants to suggest what my future videos should be about, please feel free to ask and I'll see what I can do. Either in a comment or, yeah, okay. I admit it, I have a Twitter account. You can tweet me there at any time and I'll get to it. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.